Hi, I'm Dave Hewson. You might have seen Jamie Whittam's recent video for Oliver's Mount. It's going to be a little bit like that, but with nobody famous here. So, my first time at Scarborough was Gold Cup 2007. At the time I'd been doing Superstock 1000 for a couple of years at British Championship, and earlier in the year I'd been to TT for the first time. The weekend before I went to Scarborough, I did Donington Superstock round for British. And that mostly involves spending the whole weekend sat in your awning, and sort of once a day you're allowed to go and ride your motorbike when all the crowds have gone home. And I thought I was wasting my time a bit. So I turned up at Scarborough. The paddock's so friendly, the circuit's brilliant fun, it's up and down, it's tight, it's twisty, it's exciting, and it gives you a kick up the bum that you want to go racing. It's brilliant. And by the end of the weekend, I'm worn out because I've ridden my bike so much, and I've even won 50 quid, because I'd won the Superbike B final just in front of Davey Morgan. Now, in Davey's defence, he thought it was an 8-lap race, but it wasn't, it was a 6-lap race, and I'm fairly sure he was going to do me on the last lap. But I won, record book shows it, photo to prove it, brilliant. So, over the next few years, I did pretty much every meeting at Scarborough. I got a little bit addicted to the place. It's easy to learn where you're going. It's difficult to actually do it fast. There's not a great deal of room for error with the place. For example, you go over the jumps, and if you're going sort of average pace, it's pretty easy. The faster you want to go, there's more tactic to it, there's more skill involved, which sometimes I'm lacking. One year in it would have been practice for Spring Cup, I think, I went over it on my ZX10, the biggest of the jumps, and it was morning walk and I got the thing a bit wrong. It was a bit over enthusiastic, bit of a tank slapper, bit of a moment, but you know, it was alright. And but a chap in the crowd had got it on camera, and he'd even come to see me to show me the picture because he thought I was going to end up in the grass bank. Another time, the biggest jump's ever so slightly on a corner, so I thought to myself, I know, I've got this sorted, I'll turn a little bit more before the jump and jump it square, and I'll land better and I'll be in a better shape after the jump. Turned it a little bit too much, landed on the grass on the outside of the circuit, and whew, that was exciting, that woke me up, that did. My mechanics didn't look particularly impressed by the amount of grass that was in the belly pan of the bike when I got back to the paddock, but yeah, no harm done. So then I kept going and kept riding and just got a little bit quicker and a little bit quicker. 2009 Gold Cup, I think I'm going pretty well. 600s I've sort of qualified middle of the A final. Had an absolutely brilliant start, cracking. I'm good through the first few corners, and I'm sort of got onto the back straight, and I'm right behind Adrian Archibald, and I think to myself, TT winner in front, we're doing alright here. And it's like, yeah. Now at the bend of the back straight there's a couple of undulations, the track goes up and down, and if it was flat your ideal braking mark would pretty much be on top of the second undulation, but if you do brake there it kicks the back of the bike up into the air, everything gets a bit wiggly, and if you're not careful you end up in Scarborough town. So I've hit the brakes at the right point, thought right, I've got this sorted. Next thing I know, back of the bike takes a hit, and I'm 3/4 off the bike. I've got the seat under my leg, and I'm sort of hanging off, and I've still got hold of the right hand handlebar, and I'm pointing towards the front door of the cafe, and obviously panicking, and the adrenaline's flying, and so I just pulled the brake lever as hard as I could, and there's this sort of 20-metre skid mark straight up to the front door of the cafe. So I bounce into the front door of the cafe, hay bales everywhere, front door handle of the cafe is gone as well, and there's sort of moderate chaos. And, but I'm unhurt, and I pick myself up and I sort of dust myself down, and I sort of have a moment to catch my breath, and I turn around, and there's this young lad who's running the back of me, and I've never seen him before in my life. I don't know who he is. But, you know, I thought I was going fairly well, so he must have been going fairly well as well. Takes his helmet off, white as a sheet, and he just manages to say, I really saw, and at that point collapsed it into a pile on the floor. And that was the first time I met Dean Harrison. It was also the only time I've had Dean Harrison behind me. Such is life. So that was good fun. Over the years, you know, you have fun, you have some dices with some good people, and I just really enjoyed the place. I've also had a little bit of a luxury of I've had some interesting bikes to ride there over the years. I've raced sort of ZX10s, BMW, ZX6s, R6s, the sort of run-of-the-mill stuff. Then a few years ago I bought a V4 Aprilia as a superbike, and that was really, really good round Scarborough. It drove off the corners really well, it was stable over the jumps, and it was surprisingly really, really good in the wet. Had some really good wet races at Scarborough, because it's the English seaside, got to expect these things. And then I think it was 2015, I knew the guys who were importing bimotors into the UK, and they had a BMW engined BB3. Fantastic, beautiful motorbike. And they'd asked me if I wanted to ride it. Why would I turn down a chance to ride a bimotor? The first time I put a leg over it was for morning warm-up, and it was soaking wet. So I've got this sort of expensive exotica motorbike, and I'm just hooning around the wet, enjoying it. And it dried out over the weekend and I went alright on it. And I think I was the first person to race a bimotor round Scarborough since 1984, I think we worked out with. Tony, who used to do the commentary, has a knowledge of stuff that's gone around there. It just, yeah, you can talk for hours on it, luckily. And yeah, I've had some absolutely great times there. The people in the paddock are so friendly, the circuit's exciting. On a good day you just get the crowds filling the grass banks. Everybody loves the place. It's absolutely cracking. Now that Eddie and Mick have taken over the place as well, the circuit is in the best shape it's ever been in. I went back last year for the first meeting. They'd done a really, really good job of getting the place prepped up properly. It was just run that bit more professionally. And it was fantastic. I took my ZXR 750 with me, just had a really good fun time. And I've got my entries in for this year. I'm just fingers crossed that everything improves and we actually get to do some racing.